A mother's role in child upbringing is not only giving birth to this particular child, but of course it goes beyond that. And that is why Makerere School of Public Health, together with Family TV, brings you this show. This is Health Report, a program you shouldn't miss. Remember, this program is basically looking at maternal health and, of course, early childhood development. Therefore, as a mother or as a father, what is your role in child upbringing? That is why you shouldn't miss any single episode of this show. And specialists come here and they share with us what we have to know about child upbringing. And of course, today we are with Miriam. But of course, before I bring Miriam on board, Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. And of course, HealthPort is the program. Remember, this program is always on air, right there in your living room, every single Friday at exactly 7 p.m. Miriam, you're most welcome to Family TV.
Thank you, Edrine.
And we are excited that we have you today.
It's my pleasure.
Kindly greet our esteemed viewers.
Good evening, everyone. I'm called Miria Twinomugisha. I am a nutritionist, and I work at China Uganda Friendship Hospital, Nagoro, which we usually call Nagoro Hospital.
So we are indeed blessed that we have you today. And as Miriam has said that she's a nutritionist, meaning we are still bringing back breastfeeding. Why is it important for a mother to breastfeed their children? Maybe if we start from that.
Okay, so I will start with why it is important for mothers to breastfeed their children, babies, in the first hour of birth. Usually so often, when mothers give birth, you find they're exhausted from pushing these babies. They do not have much energy. But I am here to appeal to these mothers that it is very, very important to have their babies lashed on their breasts in the first hour of birth. Because then, when the baby suckles on the mother's breast in the first hour of birth, it actually stimulates breast milk flow. This mother is going to have the breast milk starting to come in, and it sustains the breast milk flow even for longer periods. These mothers will not have chances of saying, I did not have enough breast milk. Maybe it hasn't come in time, because they will have lashed their babies on the breast. Once still, when a baby is lashed on the breast in that first hour of birth, it helps the baby to get cholesterol. And it also helps the mother to actually heal, because the uterus contracts and goes back to its original size.
So I would ask you, is it specifically in that 1 hour, or even if, because I look at a mother who is unconscious after giving birth, they're unconscious for like 3 or 4 hours. Does it mean that the flow, the breast milk flow will be affected by this? Because you've told us it is important in that first hour.
It actually usually affects the breast milk flow. That's why we say we need to use the golden hour. Yes, I know there are mothers who give birth by cesarean and they really take long to recover. But then the caretakers of these mothers, if they know the importance of why it is necessary, they will either help the baby to latch on the breast, because those babies can actually root for the breasts. They will either help the baby to latch on the breast or help the mother express. Those little drops, that you see as liquid or fluid, is very important for that baby.
Okay, so why is it important, besides the milk flow, breastfeed milk flow, and then helping in the contraction of the uterus? Why is it important for a baby for a mother to breastfeed their child in that first hour?
In the first hour, it is beneficial to both the mother and the baby. The baby gets some benefits, the cholesterol, and the mother also gets benefits. It prevents PPH, postpartum hemorrhage, that bleeding that some mothers usually get, and sometimes it leads to death. So when the baby is latched on the breast and they breastfeed, it helps prevent it. So it's beneficial to the mother. And then it also helps her to sustain breastfeeding, even for longer periods after that. And then the breast milk will start to flow. For the baby is going to get the first immunization from colostrum. Colostrum is also important in so many other ways. Colostrum is the brownish, yellowish fast milk that comes out of the breasts in the first hours. So if this baby is given a chance to have that colostrum, it helps, it gives the baby the first immunization. It is full of antibodies. So this baby is protected from even future common childhood illnesses, the infections, the allergies. It is very good for the baby's gut. It goes into the gut and lines it and produces good bacteria in the gut for the baby. And it is also very, very, very good because it helps the baby expel what we call meconium. Meconium is the first poop, if I may say poop, that comes out of the baby because it's accumulated when the baby is still in the womb. It is usually dark, it is usually very black, so colostrum helps the baby expel it, and once they expel it, then the baby is going to begin to grow properly.
Okay, so you've talked about the importances of colostrum to the baby. Now, is it that if a mother doesn't breastfeed this child in the first hour, the colostrum evaporates? Or the colostrum is always there waiting for the child to suffer it? Okay,
so the body usually makes colostrum within the 2 to 5 days of birth. But as you know, all bodies are different. You never know when your body will actually stop. That's why we say utilize the first golden hour and continue.
So it is automatic that in the first hour, colostrum is there?
Yes. In the first hour, colostrum is there. I know most mothers latch their babies on the breast and they're like, there is nothing. There's usually something. It is too little. It is a few drops, but there is usually something. It may be liquidish. It may be yellowish. And most mothers actually discard it from the meats, saying it is spoiled breast milk, which has been stale in the breast. And then they remove it and first discard it as they are giving their babies glucose water, giving their babies formula milk, but it's not encouraged to give those babies the glucose water or sugar water or the infant formulas when you actually have what is enough. Because usually the baby is going to need about half a teaspoon when they're just born, half a teaspoon, a teaspoon of those droplets that come out of the breast.
Okay. So since you told us you are a nutritionist,
yes.
I want you to tell us about the nutrients in this colostrum.
Like I said, colostrum is very enriched with antibodies. When a baby is born, you do not expect them to start putting on fat as yet. Basically, you're trying to deal with their immunity. They are coming from a different environment to a different environment. So the antibodies that are really accumulated in that colostrum are very, very important. And then they will also help to fill up the baby since they have small stomachs. You're not looking at it having a lot of maybe carbohydrates or a lot of maybe the protein or the fat. No, it just welcomes them from the womb to the environment they are born in. So it is for the protection and to fill up their stomachs and to protect the gut, protect from further allergies, all those things, and also to help expel the meconium, which had accumulated in their guts while they were in the stomachs.
Okay. Still, besides colostrum, we shall also talk about breast milk. Okay. What are some of the nutrients in the breast milk that a child will miss out if they are not breastfed?
Okay. So, as I'm answering that, I'll talk about the importance of what? Breast milk. Yeah. Breast milk is actually a very, very, very good food for the newborns. And it alone is enough. It has all the nutrients. It has the carbohydrate in it, it has the protein in it, it has the fat in it, it has the iron in it, it has the vitamin A in it. So it has all the nutrients that the baby needs to actually grow from 0 day to 6 months of age. So it has enough. The baby who is breastfed does not actually need water to drink or the juices because it plays all the parts. It clears the thirst as well as builds the baby's body to begin to put on weight and develop properly. It is very important because it is cost effective. You do not have to buy it. It's already made. You don't need a lot of time to prepare it. It's readily available. And It actually helps the baby put on weight that you need as the baby is growing.
So does it mean that children who are small are not breastfed well?
Usually, yes. Usually when you talk to these mothers whose babies are not putting on enough breast milk, usually what we do at the hospital is we do what we call assessing a breastfeed. You first look at how this mother is actually attaching the baby on the breast. There is a proper technique on how to put the baby on the breast. You have to wait until the baby's mouth is open enough. You put the breast in the baby's mouth and you observe the lower lip should be turned outwards and the upper lip should be open properly. The chin should touch the mother's breast, and also how you position the baby matters. The baby's head should actually be on your arm here, and then the palms actually touch the baby's buttocks. Then you align the baby's stomach to your stomach and you hold them firm. You should be seated in a comfortable chair to make sure your back doesn't hurt and you don't get fatigued.
Or does breastfeeding cause backache?
Because it is actually strenuous, so it's not easy. Yes, if you don't latch well and you bend like this, you're going to feel very tired and exhausted from breastfeeding. That's how you're going to put the baby away from the breast. But you should sit properly, align the back to a comfortable chair or wall, and relax. Then you hold your baby very well, attach them very well, you position them very well, and you let them breastfeed until they are full.
Okay. So, how many times is a child supposed to breastfeed? And is supposed to be breastfed? And how long should the breastfeeding exercise take per time?
That is relative. We usually say breastfeed on demand because breast milk production depends on supply and demand. The higher the demand, the more the supply. The higher it is, the more the breast is emptied, the more breast milk is produced. So I would not say there should be a number of times to put your baby on the breast, but as a mother, it should trigger your mind that I need to put my baby on the breast as many times as I can. The baby may demand by crying, but there are those babies who actually don't cry. They will just sleep. So as a mother, you need to make sure that you wake these babies up from their sleep. It is not a taboo, it is not a myth. I know I have met so many mothers saying, oh, if a baby is sleeping and you wake them up, then they're not going to put on weight. It is so bad. No, it's not bad. You need to wake them up.
So Miriam,
yes,
let us shortly go for a commercial break, and first when you come back, we are going to start from there.
Thank you.
Hey guys, did you know that you're always trying to prove a point as a man? Why? What point is it anyway?
Have you ever wondered why you are a man? What's your reason for being a man?
Join us every Friday at 9 p.m. on Family Television with me, your host Byron, Zach and Gideon. And we'll be streaming live on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, even YouTube. See you then.
Serveri for Godfrey nteredde okulaba nga mbatusako programu eno ensonga
tulina obukulembeze bwaffe ajeje tuli atunyonyole nti bwe tumalako wanisa kino kyekiddako.
After that, we are now cooperating with China in infrastructure.
But we shall continue to do activities as the People Power movement.
bagenda munda bagula pichipicha zize azitwale baziwandike zingezaffe tebajaziwandika.
Welcome back from the commercial break. And we realize that each time we go on, as we move on with health report, you realize that new things come in. Now, it all started with a mother and father. Now, it also takes in the caretakers. Caretakers too have a role to play in child upbringing. Therefore, whether you leave your child with a maid or your mother or your relative, they too have a role to play. That is why everyone needs this program. And our credit goes to Makerere University School of Public Health for this innovation. Of course, it is a one of its kind. And of course, we thank Family TV for this platform where we express these views to you, the mothers, and I believe your lives are changing. The way, because we have to fight for this generation. This should be a new generation, a changed generation, free from superstitions. That is why researchers come and share with us what they have come up with. So today we are looking at breastfeeding, and before we went for the commercial break, actually Miriam was taking us through the importance of breastfeeding and the importance of breast milk. But of course, I want us to talk about the importance of exclusive breastfeeding. Miriam, why is exclusive breastfeeding important? Because Sarah previously talked about exclusive breastfeeding, but now I want you to tell us why it is important to exclusively breastfeed a child.
Okay, yeah. So exclusive breastfeeding is giving your baby just breast milk and nothing else.
For how long?
Other than medically prescribed medicines that you've gotten from your doctor. This usually happens, this is supposed to happen, not usually, it's supposed to happen from birth to 6 months of age. That whole period is what we call exclusive breastfeeding, the act of giving the baby the breast milk only. It is important in so many ways. When you exclusively breastfeed your baby, first and foremost, the baby is going to get all the nutrients they need for their growth. It is going to boost their immunity. There will be no chances of infections from diarrhea or vomiting because the breast milk is in a sterile place. In the breast is so sterile. So you do not expect to introduce germs to this baby when they are exclusively breastfeeding. One other benefit of exclusive breastfeeding, it is going to also build the mother's bond, mother-baby bond as you are breastfeeding. And it also has actually longer benefits which live onto this child as the child also develops into an adult later in life. The exclusively breastfed babies they don't often get overweight or obese in their adult lives or when they're adolescents, because it is regulated very well. The breast milk is regulated very, very, very well.
So in what you've said, I'm interested in one aspect. Of course, we've had very many people talk about bonding. I want you to tell us, to talk about bonding in details, because it seems bonding is something so important, especially that bond, the mother-child bond.
Yes.
And when it is missing, then we don't know what will happen. So I really want you to talk about bonding in details.
Okay, the child-mother bond is very important. It actually begins when the baby is still in the stomach. The mother can talk to the baby, you can sing to this baby. When you're pregnant, you begin to talk. And by the time you
How? First of all, how can you talk to this baby when you're pregnant?
Yes, you can tell the baby stories, you can put some good
Loudly
music
or quietly?
You speak it out, because if you say it quietly, then they won't listen. They won't hear. So you speak it out, you make a conversation, you converse, you encourage this baby, you speak nice things to this baby. As in, you become a jolly mother when the baby is still in the stomach. You can play soothing music, you can read to the baby. So when you give birth, the baby already knows the voice somehow, because they've always had that voice, some instinct somewhere. So as you're breastfeeding, you still communicate with the baby, even when they can't talk. Even if it's 0 day, you communicate, you talk as you're breastfeeding, you create a conversation. In that process, even your breast milk will increase in the amount as it's flowing, the baby is talking. They actually talk back.
Only that we don't understand what, or the mother understands.
You will understand.
As a mother?
Yes, because you can read the emotions, you read the cues, you read everything. They will talk back, you talk back to them, and it encourages them to grow. It encourages them to understand the environment better. And then they can even recognize your voice. Before they can tell any voices apart, they will have known the mother's voice.
So that is bonding.
Yes.
So it is very hard to separate this child from the mother. They'll always know. They'll always smell, sniff in the air, and now sense that my mother is coming.
Yes, if you can say that. There are those babies who are very attached to their mothers, that they don't want the mothers to go or leave them. Or when they hear their mothers have come, then they will just get up from sleep or from wherever they are. Yes, and the good bond should be accompanied by other nice virtues installed in this baby. Let the baby grow. The mannerisms, the words you're talking to the baby should all matter.
So, Miriam, we are in a world where very many of our mothers want to work, and we know that in most of our working places, mothers are not given enough time as maternal leave.
Yes, yes.
Some people are given 2 months, others are given 3, but you've told us that exclusive breastfeeding goes up to 6 months. And so what should these mothers do to exclusively breastfeed their children?
Okay.
They want to work, and at the same time, they have babies who they need to exclusively breastfeed.
That's a very important question, because this is the world we are living in right now. We all need to work to balance the home, to balance the work. And our normal maternity leave is 3 months. 3 months are not enough. Like we said, exclusive breastfeeding is from 0 day to 6 months. And it's even worse for mothers who are working in informal sector jobs. Those who go to the market, those who have mudala or a shop or something. You find
after 3 weeks, they are back.
Even 1 week, even a few days. You find they are leaving their babies home or carrying their babies to work. If your work environment has a breastfeeding room, that's even good enough. You can carry your baby and breastfeed them at your workplace if you have that room designated. But I've not seen many rooms designated. I've only seen it in the parliament. And I think our Kawempe Hospital. But I've not seen so many workplaces having these rooms. So what you can do, this mother can still be supported to exclusively breastfeed. You can actually hand express this breast milk and you leave it back at home with whoever, maybe a caretaker, maybe the father, maybe the grandmother or your siblings, and then they help you feed this baby when you are at work.
Does this milk still carry the same importance to the child's body?
Oh yes. Oh yes. For as long as it's expressed very well, we usually encourage mothers. You cannot tell everyone to buy a breast pump. They're very costly. So we encourage mothers to use their hands. So you can hand express. All you need to do is wash your hands clean and get your breasts as if you're going to breastfeed the baby. These four fingers under the breast and the palm on top of the breast. We all know how the breast is structured. It has this protruding nipple, and then it has the dark part, which we call the areola. So what you do is you wash your hands clean, you get your clean container where you're going to put your breast milk, you hold your breast with your hands as if you're going to breastfeed, you push back and press. Push back, press, release. Push back, press, release. You don't do as we do for cows, because then the breasts are going to elongate and lose shape, and it's going to be very painful for you. So for you to get a lot, you have to imitate the breastfeeding rhythm. Push back, press, release. Push back, press, release. Then you will get the breast milk in the container, because it will have a round top, express enough, cover, keep it. When you keep this breast milk, well, if you don't have a fridge, the breast milk will keep for about 6 to 8 hours under room temperature, and it will be very, very fresh with all the nutrients you need for the baby. If you put it in a fridge compartment, in the fridge, it can keep for 4 to 5 days. There are those fridges which have freezer compartments. When you put it in the fridge compartment in the freezer, it can keep for 2 weeks. If your fridge has a different freezer compartment, this breast milk can actually keep for about 3 months.
What do you mean by a different freezer compartment?
There are those fridges which have a fridge and then a freezer compartment. You find that the freezer compartment has a different door, so it's not opened all the time like the fridge compartment. So there it will keep for 3 months. If you put it in the deep freezer, it will keep for 6 months to 1 year, meaning you can go anywhere and study and leave enough breast milk for your baby.
Oh, wow. So meaning these mothers can still breastfeed their children exclusively?
Yes, it is not as easily done as said, because it's really difficult to comply to, but with a good positive mind and the zeal and the willingness, you can actually do it.
Okay. So they tell us that sometimes breastfeeding is one way of family planning, but we realize that some mothers conceive sooner than expected.
Sure.
How can these mothers be helped to continue breastfeeding their children exclusively?
When they are pregnant?
Yes.
Okay, so that period we usually call it lactation, and it can happen. It works as a family planning perfectly for some women. It is not that it's going to work for all the women. For some women, yes, and for some women, it may actually not work. So the bodies are different, and it depends on the hormones you have. But usually, if you exclusively breastfeed your child, and you're feeding this child many times in a day, and you're observing how often they are wetting their diapers, you're observing how they are doing their bowel movements about 3 times a day. And you're very sure that you're giving you're giving this baby the breast so many times. It is the menstruation usually is delayed, doesn't come back fast. The time you see it coming back fast, and you're still within that fast period, those months of birth, from 0 to 6 months, you need it should be a check for you. When you see them return, then you know you're not really giving this baby the breasts enough times.
Okay.
But still, if we have those mothers who are different, like I said, the bodies are different. We have those mothers who are different. You find they've given birth this month, and the next month they're having their baby, their menses, their menstruations cycle again. That mother can actually get pregnant. So if it so happens and you get pregnant when you were still breastfeeding, it is best that you actually do what? Continue to breastfeed.
Is the flow still constant, the breast milk flow?
Oh yes, like I said, breast production depends on
the demand
and supply. The more you empty, the more it comes in. When the mother gets to the second and third trimester, yes, there may be some changes, but they will not be noticeable. And usually, by the time the mother is getting the second trimester and the third trimester, this other small baby has actually grown. They have actually grown, they are already maybe complementing, eating as they are breastfeeding. But these mothers are usually encouraged to actually continue do what? Breastfeeding. Because it is important for this baby to continue breastfeeding. Very often, there are so many misconceptions, a lot of information going on in the communities that when you're pregnant and you breastfeed your baby, then this other baby is going to get sick, is going to very many things happening. And then you find mothers abandoning this one, the one they already have, and caring for themselves, and the one growing in the body. So you find that this other one is getting malnourished, and malnutrition actually kills these babies often. So we need to encourage these mothers to continue breastfeeding. You can actually continue breastfeeding until you give birth. In that period when you're about to give birth, you give a break to the breastfeeding baby of about 4 to 5 days for the young one to get cholesterol. Like I said, it's very important for the young baby to get cholesterol in those days, and then after those days, you can actually breastfeed both of them. Because like I said, it's about demand and supply. We have mothers who have given birth to twins, and the body is able to produce all this breast milk. So
breastfeeding both is normal.
Very normal.
Thank you so much, Miriam. We are grateful that you've given us this time, this evening. We are indeed grateful. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. I've worked with Miriam, and today our sign language specialist isn't with us, but we shall be with her next week, of course. And Jonah Jal, the producer, Santo Tony on social media, and Bantam in transmission. Thank you so much. This program is brought to you by Makerere University School of Public Health, together with Family TV, enriching lives. Good night.